Yo, what's good, gang? I hope you're keeping well. I'm just gonna jump straight into it, right? And this is so weird. So I'm coming out of the shop, Checkers, I don't know. Well, people who are not from South Africa won't know Checkers, or I don't know if Checkers is even like African or international. But ultimately, I'm coming out of the grocery store. Well, that took a long time. But anyway, I'm coming out of the grocery store and, I'm buying fruits, right? And they have this special, buy two and you get to save 10 Rand. And what's crazy or what's interesting is that they have the same special on multiple fruits. So I'm thinking like, yo, let me like get two different fruits, let me get some cherries, let me get some grapes, and I'm still gonna save 10 Rand because it looks the same. But lo and behold, they charge me the individual prices and I don't get the discount. And you know what? I get to the till, of course I pay, and I look at the slip, I'm like, hey man, I should have actually gotten 10 Rand less for this. And when I go and check, it just so turns out that um the special only works when it's, or applies rather, when it's two of the same fruit. So, what's interesting is that I didn't know where this message was gonna go, but I think that's it right there. Two of the same fruits get a discount. Two of the same fruits get treated um, the same, or get the same kind of treatment. And I'm just thinking about how we find ourselves in situations where we're expecting those situations to bear fruit, to yield a result. And only when it's in a group, when it's paired up, do we actually start to see greater results or yield more from the situation, from like get more value or get more out of it. Because I'm just thinking, I mean, if you had a tree that only bore or bears one fruit, you just like, "Ah, what the hell?" It's like, it doesn't really give you much. But now, if it bears multiple fruit, two or more, then now you're getting the fruits of your labor. Hmm. Wow, spirit's buzzing right now. I didn't even know that's how the message was gonna come through, and they just told me dive straight into it. And it's just so interesting that, I'm also thinking like birds of a feather. And I was thinking like, what, when we find ourselves in the right places, in the right spaces, with the right fruits, the people who have been cultivated just like us, the people who've also been worked on, or who are doing the work to advance emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, in all states of their being, we are going to find our tribe and we are going to yield better results. We are going to achieve more with less. So that's why we need to find our tribe. We may both be fruits, but if we're not the same fruit, well, we're not going to get the same like value. We're not going to extract the same results or efforts or abundance or blessings, you know what I mean? So I think it's so important that we are very discerning. We look at things for what they truly are, because some people are great in finance. Some people are great with athleticism. Some people are great in the kitchen. Like, you know what you're good at. And I think when people rely on their strengths, especially when they're trying to do something together that requires the same strength, then that team performs better together. I mean, I'm just thinking about how, like, even a soccer team, all of them are soccer players. You don't have a soccer team with a cricket player and a basketball player, because while they are all sportsmen or sportswomen, it's not going to yield the same results, right? Yes, they are fit. Yes, they've gone through training, but it's not the same type of training that you've been through. You can try to mix and match, but ultimately the results will show that, hey man, birds of a feather don't flock together, of different feathers. So in this case, I mean, here I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't get the value that I thought I was gonna get from getting my berries and my cherries. It even rhymes. You know how the boy do? Oh, talking about that, I didn't even introduce this. But yo, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings, Soul Tribe. Thank you for being the vibe. It's your host doing the most, G3E, the one and only. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Spread, where we take the journey within, and on this path we are led. Thank you to God, our angels, guardians, and ancestors, and all beings wishing us well. May this message be swell, and in the highest vibration of love we dwell. So yeah, man, it's just so interesting that you would try to also I'm thinking in my case, if I was actually to yield the result that I wanted from mixing and matching, it could speak to me like jerry rigging the system in a sense, being like the glitch in the matrix. But the other thing that's coming to mind right now is that, things are not always as they appear to be. Even though there was a special or, a discount that was available on multiple fruits, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to work together, So I think it also calls for a greater level of discernment, of understanding. When you're looking at these price tags on these items, there's no disclaimer or terms and conditions, but then they very much will show you that in a different color or in a different text that there is some kind of a saving taking place. So it's like, even if people are trying to save you or presenting a solution to some kind of an outcome, do we truly take the time to go into the nitty gritty and find out what are the strings attached, what are the implications or perhaps possible repercussions of participating in this exchange of energy? I think, it's a call to see, where are we perhaps even leaking energy, and where can we best direct our energy, to remain more focused, So again, I'm thinking about false expectations, or wait, what is that thing for fear? False evidence appearing real. So, I have this evidence of there being a sale or a saving, and it appears real to me, like, yo, man, I can do this thing. But ultimately, it's not the way I thought it was. It's not the way I thought it was. And it's not like I'm scared to buy fruits, but I just think that, we should also be able to see the difference between discernment and fear. Sometimes, we are scared to do certain things, or we fear doing certain things, but maybe it's just a call to actually review them better, to understand them better, and we'll actually get to realize, actually, there's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing to be worried about, And what we might have viewed as a false expectation is really just us needing to be the observer, to see it from a different perspective and ask questions, so that we can make better decisions. When you make informed decisions, you've reviewed, you've evaluated, you've played out different scenarios, and I think you are better for it as a result. And even when it comes to decision making, I think it's very important that we think as to how do we make these decisions. And, if we're trying to get the fruits of our labor, if we're trying to do the absolute most, from coast to coast, from edge to edge, from side to side, going far and wide, what is it that we are actually doing that is going to yield the best results for us? So yeah, this is very unexpected. I didn't think the message was going to come through like this. I think there's definitely some fruits in this message, And yeah, last thing that I'm also thinking about is even with plants, it's you don't actually eat the whole plant. The plant, or the part of the plant that we eat, is the fruit. We don't eat the leaves, we don't eat the stem, and even the taste of those parts of the plant are telling us that yo, I'm not actually meant to be eaten. I'm remembering something that I heard from Yaki when you were speaking about, how people are supposed to be frugivores and on these fruit-based diets. So, here I am realizing now that, not everything that we see as, appearing natural or of nature is actually going to be good for us. So let us be better discerning with our fruits, with our selections, with our choices, and ultimately our decisions. One of my favorite quotes, I always live by this: the fall of man is indecisiveness. So you will be affected by your actions and your non-actions. But whether you've made a choice or not, there's definitely one being made. Whether you've made a decision or not, there's definitely one being made. And that's it, right? It's the fall of man. So it's like you are on your knees. You want to be in your strength. You want to be in your power all the time. Why fall when you were meant to rise, when you were meant to ascend, to be grand, to stand? And these blessings can land, you know? Rise above the sand, gang, you know, like, you know, you're not lost in the mud out here, not lost in the desert, you know? So, yeah, let's be discerning so we can be better earning. That's what's up. That's what's up. I love how these messages come through, man. There's always something to learn, and I appreciate that, you know. Let's remember to stay studious. And yeah, that's how we grow. That's how we flow, and that's how we know. Wisdom is power, but better yet, the application of wisdom is power, or the application of knowledge is power. However you want to look at it, we're evolving out here. In fact, the greatest gift you could ever ask for is wisdom, right? As we've been told, as we've read, as we've experienced. Because wisdom is wise, wisdom is long lasting. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it right there. I just saw 1, 2, 3 on my timer here, but yeah, 11:23. But 1, 2, 3 still counts. You know, it's in between. So even in our moments, in between moments, from moment to moment, we're gonna find synchronicity. Wow, how beautiful. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it right there, gang. Peace and love, and I'm gonna catch you next time on Roots Holistic. Yeah, where we're checking out the statistics. We're gonna check the numbers next time. All right, peace and love, gang. Yeah, yeah.